Our guest, Brad Gerstner, is still with us. He is the founder and CEO of Altimeter Capital. And Brad, I thought your last question to the speaker was a very interesting one. The idea that you and the speaker both think that this is a negotiation when it comes to the tariffs. There's a lot riding on that in the markets right now. And again, this decisions for investors, for consumers, for business leaders, when they believe the president and when they kind of look through to say, is this a negotiation?
Yeah, I think this is the fog of war. Right. And, even
fog of a trade war.
Fog of a trade war. Even when representatives come on set, I watch every day. Everybody watches every word. You guys have Hassett or Bessent or Peter Navarro come on set.
Now, you have to guess what they're messaging at the time, which way it's headed.
And if I listen to Peter Navarro, right, many times he sounds like a McKinley style. Right? He wants McKinley-style tariffs. Now, those were very high protectionist structural tariffs for the United States. And so I think that would scare the markets. I'm not saying, we can debate philosophically whether that's good or bad. I happen to think that's bad, but it certainly would scare the markets because it would be a dramatic shift from what we have today. Right. But I think when you listen, think about, I've called it the Bessent consensus. He wrote in his LP letter, a fully loaded gun rarely discharged. And where does the president sit? I think the president sits right in the middle. I think he's going to negotiate like hell. I think he's going to be unwavering about fair trade, right? And we know we're getting ripped off by some of our trading partners, and he wants that to end. And the only way you can get that to end is to show them that you're dead serious in the negotiation. The question is ultimately where does this land, Becky? And part of the reason people get nervous, right? CEOs get nervous. They get whipsawed in the process. They got to make real life decisions about what do I do with prices? What do I do with my supply chain, et cetera? So this needs to happen very fast. And there is a concept of negative reflexivity. So you start off as just a negotiation, but then one of your trading partners goes off the rails on something, and all of a sudden it ends up in a fundamental issue.
One of your trading partners acts the same way that you're acting, and it is going to put reciprocal tariffs on the reciprocal tariffs that you're already putting on. We can't control what they do, right. And the one thing that you're worried about is that we somehow stumble into a recession.
So think about what we just talked about. It's all uncertainty.
Yeah.
When uncertainty goes up, discount rates go up, risk premiums go up, multiples come down, markets come down. That's the explanation for the last 4 weeks in the market.
One thing that we have talked about is the Trump put. We don't know if it still exists anymore. I think we kind of suspect it doesn't in the same way. But what about the Fed put? Does the market still think that there's a Fed put out there? How important is that to where prices are right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the concept of the put by any of these parties is way too simple. The world's far more nuanced than that. But I think we do have the Fed's attention. Right. And the Fed's attention, they're probably a little bit nervous about tariffs. But when they hear Delta Airlines warn this week that they're seeing, a softening of consumer demand, when they see United Airlines, Scott Kirby, say the same things, when they hear that from Walmart, they're calling all the CEOs in their district and asking them. And I'm certain they're hearing from the CEOs exactly what we're talking about on set. Right. Uncertainty in planning. When there is uncertainty, you don't make decisions. You don't make capital investment decisions. You don't make hiring decisions. And so I'm sure that's flowing through. I think that's okay. The economy is strong enough. We can withstand a certain amount of that. But that's why I think that the Speaker and the White House are moving at lightning speed. They know this can't drift into the summer or fall, or you run the risk of starting 2026, the midterm elections with a recession. That would not be good.
Well, let me ask you, related to all of this, and this goes to the context of just what the relationship is between the United States and the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. Do you believe, and we're already hearing from travel companies and other places that, foreigners don't necessarily want to come to the United States now. Mm-hmm. And what you think all of this does, not just to travel, but to the sort of larger relationship that the U.S. has with the rest of the world, and to the larger idea of investment in the United States by foreign companies and others who may be looking at this going, you know what, I don't know if I like these people the way I thought I did.
I don't really buy that we're doing any terminal damage to that. And if you look at investment in the United States, right, TSMC stood there with the president and said, we're going to invest another $100 billion in the United States. I mean, the list of companies, I think we're up to $1 trillion of reinvestment. There's no doubt.
Hold on, but can we just be, look, I pray that all of those commitments and pledges come true. Yeah. The reality, at least from, if history is any guide, those pledges in 3 or 4 or 5 years, we will look back, and it is unclear whether they will be...
There are 5 TSMC fabs in Arizona that got built as a result of these negotiations in Trump's first term. So the fact of the matter is, like, those did happen.
Yes, but Foxconn and others didn't.
Sure,
I think we can look at those examples, right? So that is a reality. And so when we look at these commitments, I look more, for example, right now at just basic things like the mergers and acquisitions market, which is a great sign of people's confidence in their own business, typically.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that we are at, like, almost not historic lows. We're like back in 2015.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
And so when you look at the actual numbers of what's going on, you have to say to yourself, talk about investment.
Yes.
If people actually wanted to invest here, I mean, we can look at the big numbers that were at the press releases.
Sure.
But what's actually happening on the ground, people are not doing anything. They're sitting on their hands.
Well, so a couple points of clarification. First, I think that construction in the United States is very real. I talked to a large, domestic technology company that's currently constructing servers in Mexico, going to build a big plant in Texas. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that we are going to do some reshoring. But let's, go, to some of these other issues, as it relates to the positive byproducts of what the president's doing. I think that he is jawboning a lot of investment in the United States right now. But when you have uncertainty, all of this gets postponed. And all I'm saying right now is we're in this period of uncertainty. People want to see it settle out. The president needs to give some clarity around that. But I think it's going to result in...
Just so we're on the same page. When you saw Apple's quote-unquote commitment to the United States, right, the $500 billion, did you not say to yourself that that was a press release, in that they were planning to do most of that already? They had made a similar press release under the Biden administration in 2021 for $430 billion. Right. When you saw the announcement by SoftBank with OpenAI,
well, I know that's happening.
And you saw Elon Musk say they don't even have the they said they don't even have the money. Then they said, go look at this other plant that we're building, and then they said they'd already started building it before Trump ever showed up. So
so two quick things. Number one, CoreWeave announced yesterday a $12 billion deal with OpenAI on Stargate. Those things are getting constructed. We're investors there. I can tell you those things are getting built. Secondly, on the M&A markets, we just had a $3 billion deal announced yesterday. ServiceNow bought MoveWorks in the United States. I can tell you every company has pulled their M&A teams off the beach. They haven't done anything for 3 years, and they're all back to work. We're going to hear a lot of M&A announcements over the course of the next 6 months.